Hello everyone, hi, welcome to the channel of Wall Street Mojo. Friends, today we are going to learn a topic, a concept that is your working capital formula. Working capital in itself is really an important component. It is used in also while evaluating your DCF technique, where when you try and evaluate the FCFF also, or for EV, your enterprise value, for any other reasons, working capital in itself is a very important and a significant thing for any company. So what exactly is working capital? Why am I stressing a lot on this? Working capital is your current assets less your current liabilities. Now this is just the formula. We need to go into the nitty-gritty of the same. So working capital formula is one of the most common concepts every business owner should understand, and even every investor should know about it to find out how liquid a firm is at any moment of time. So working capital is also the short term capital, you can say a short term capital the firm needs to run basically the operations. So if the working capital is not good enough, then the operations of the firm will absolutely suffer. Let's have a look at how you can find out the working capital formula, a working capital formula of a company. So you can say the working capital is equal to your current assets. Your current assets includes everything less your current liabilities. Right. Now, let's work on an example so that you get a clear idea on this particular ratio. See, let's say, there's this company, Titting Limited, or let's say Apple Inc. has information, something such sort of current assets. It has accounts receivable. Let's say the account receivable is 40,000. Then you have cash balance, let's say that is 15,000. Inventories, let's say 34,000. And any marketable securities, let's say 45,000. And the prepaid expenses, which is the last component over here for our calculation, is let's say $5,000. Then there are some components for current liabilities. We'll try and sum this up. So this is going to be a total. There are some component for current liabilities. Let's try and have a look on the same. The current liability includes your accounts payable, just like you have your accounts receivable, which is your creditors. Let's say it is $35,000. There's something that's called notes payable, and that is, let's say, $15,000. There's a thing called accrued expenses. Accrued expenses, let's say, is $12,000, and the short-term debt, let's say that is $34,000. So your total tantamounts to is equal to, you can press alt is equal, you can just sum it up, and you have 96,000 as your total current liabilities. So find out the working capital of Apple Inc. over here. So from the working capital example, we'll first add up the current assets and the current liabilities, and then we'll use that to calculate the working capital formula. So we have already added, and the total current assets will be, in our case it's going to be 1,39,000, and total current liability as 96,000. So the working capital should be now very simple. 1,39,000, that is your current assets, and your current liability, which is 96,000, that gives us 43,000. Now I'll show you a Colgate's working capital calculation so that you get to know that how the companies in real world, how they calculate their current ratio or the working capital formula in this particular scenario. Now, as you can see, for the Colgate's working capital, this is a snapshot of 2016 and 2015 data. The total current assets, everything is in million, 4,338 and 4,384, and the total current liability is 3,305 and 3,534. So when you try and evaluate, you get something like this as your total current assets, as 43383305. So your working capital draws down to 1033, and same calculation goes for 2015. Now let's try and understand what exactly goes in for the interpretation of this particular formula. See, calculating the working capital formula is quite easy, you can say, but all you need to do is basically to look at the balance sheet of the company, the very important thing, balance sheet of the company, and then you look at the current assets and the current liability in the same. The first and the foremost thing, the current assets are the assets that will offer benefit to the company for the next 1 year of time span or less. So the assets are just opposite of the non-current assets, NCA, because these assets benefit the company for a very short period of time, and we also call them as short-term assets. Now, it includes, as we know, that cash, inventories, you have basically the stock, that is your inventories, you have your debtors, which is known as your account receivable, any marketable securities, if any, then you have prepaid expenses, right? Then you have and so on and so forth. There are many other. Let's not get into more details in this. Then you have your current liabilities. See, current liability on the other hand basically are the liabilities that are short-term liabilities of the company. That means the company can expect to pay off their short-term liabilities within a period of 1 year of, you can say 1 year of time span. That means the company can expect to pay their short-term liabilities within a year. So this are, you can say, completely opposite of the long-term liabilities. What it includes is your accounts payable, which is your creditors. You have something called as your notes payable. Then you have your accrued expenses, and any part of the long-term debt which needs to be paid currently are some of the example of the current liability. Now when we total the current assets of the company has on their balance sheet and deduct the total current liability, you will get your working capital. Now what exactly is the use? Now I want you to understand what is the use of the working capital formula. So working capital depicts so many things about a company. Let's say if a company has a positive, let's say it has positive working capital, that means that the current assets are more than the current liabilities of the company, then the company is in a good position in terms of the efficiency and liquidity and the overall financial health. Second, on the other hand, if the company has any negative working capital, meaning that the current assets is less than the current liability, over here it is current assets are greater than the current liability. This is a positive case, this is a negative case. The company over here is suffering from inefficiency and liquidity. So it is also important for a company to see how long the inventories, remember this thing, how long the inventories they sit, or you can say sit with the company. So if the inventories aren't moving out for long, the capital remains tied up. Let me show you current assets and current liabilities, a calculator. If you have 2 lakh as your current assets and 1 lakh as your current liability, so balance 1 lakh is going to be a working capital. And based on this, you can put some more numbers and try to analyze how things move around here and make some good interpretation out of the same. Thank you, everyone.